Right, I'd like to call to order the Beaver County Board of Commissioners work session for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. Review of work session discussion meeting minutes. All right, department head report. Any department head report? Becca? That was Dan, but he can wait.
I always gobble up their time.
That's okay, this will be fairly quick. As the board is aware, and I announced about 2 weeks ago, just as a reminder, that the county solicited for support of their recycling programs as well as landfill capacity for all of Beaver County's residents. Those proposals were received by Wayne's office up until 4 o'clock on Friday. We received 8 proposals. Unfortunately, we are missing about 3 that we should have gotten. So I spent about my first couple hours on the phone here this morning discussing this issue with the landfill consultant. And she has let me know that we may perhaps have to consider the process of petitioning to allow those remaining facilities to participate in the plan. So I will be discussing that with her. That's normally a mechanism that we would conduct after the approval of the plan. However, there's nothing on a regulatory basis that says we couldn't do it prior to. I want to give Michelle Nestor a few weeks to take a look at what has been received and do a preliminary assessment before we sit down and discuss with the law office and the board the process of petitioning for the remaining folks who we did not receive proposals from. So, very exciting update, but I wanted to let you know where we were in that process at this point.
So the 3 missing are people that we had been doing business with?
Yes, we're missing a submission. We would typically have received a submission from Bruner. We did not. We also did not receive a submission from Republic Services, who industry-wide in Beaver County does do a good bit of business. So we're missing likely 3 facilities at this point.
That's interesting.
Any idea why?
No.
Thank you. Dan?
Good morning. Just a quick update on the parking garage. Obviously, we're experiencing some cooler temperatures now, but good news is the temperature's supposed to turn around a little bit. We're supposed to warm back up into the 50s, so they will be able to continue on with construction aspect of the parking garage work. Bad news, we still have not heard. We sent a letter out, we haven't heard anything back from them, and kind of holding the project up a little bit. So I don't know how long we wait to hear from them before we move forward with what we have to do, but just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay. Do we have, is that occupied? I know before it was hard to tell whether those were just rental units, those 2, or whether somebody's living there, or whether they temporarily moved away because of the construction. Because we alerted them, we never heard back even when we alerted them about the construction was going.
Right, I knocked on the door.
And you knocked on the door, so.
The workers, like I said, we meet every Friday. The workers said that they did see some people around the backyard, and
Okay.
they tried to get down there and talk to them. They didn't make it. And it's like no matter which way we go, it's dead ends is to try to talk to someone.
So we can't do anything moving forward, or we're being limited based on the fact of those trees.
That whole side.
That's not, yes.
Yeah, I see everything's going around now. I noticed they were working yesterday too on Veterans Day, so they were out there. Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other department head report? And now move to solicitor's office.
We were just downstairs, the elections office is working through some various after the fact matters with the election from last week. There was a provisional ballot, there was a race in North Swickley Township where there was a tie for the supervisors. There were 5 provisional ballots that were just counted right now. It looks like that there was a victor by 1 vote in that particular race out of 1,700 votes. So his office is continuing to do that. And we are continuing to get appeals from assessment appeals. We're up to 373 assessment appeals, which is higher than where we've been. We're borderline approaching the reassessment. We were over 500 with the reassessment. So a significant increase in assessment appeals for resets. We have 20 resolutions for tomorrow. A couple of the highlights. Number 8 is an agreement with Lennon Smith Solar Array to provide engineering work for standby power here at the courthouse. We're looking to update our backup generator in case the power goes out here to ensure that we have power here at the building in that situation. Number 12 is a follow-up agreement with the company that's been filming here, Parallax. They filmed here once originally, then they had to come back and film a separate time. This is for an agreement to do that. 13 is the proposed budget, which Corey will get into. 14 is a pretty cool one. This is for a Liberty Bell that's going to be put up here regarding America 250 through Tony's office. They're going to have a Liberty Bell that's be put up here at the courthouse, then moved around through various events for the county to celebrate America's 250th birthday next year. 17 is an agreement to continue to lease space at the Beaver County Mall for the senior center. And then 18 and 19 are for a recap with the airport for $750,000. David, I don't know if you want to bring anything up on that or not.
Yeah, so the redevelopment authority is the grantee for this project, $750,000 that will be going to CCDC. One agreement is between the county and CCDC, and the other is between the county and the redevelopment authority. So.
Thank you. Unless there's any questions on those or anything else, I do need an executive session to discuss personnel matters.
You know, I guess when somebody says your vote doesn't count, in North Swagley, every vote did count. That's a tough one to lose, I guess, but no matter which side there, by one vote. But
Yeah, probably be 876 to 875, I think is what the final tally is going to read.
Hope they don't crack it. Again.
All right, we will move, no questions for the solicitor's office. We will move to the commissioners.
I have nothing.
just yesterday, the veteran parade was well done, despite the very blustery weather there. It was good to see. I do appreciate the Vietnam Vets of America chapter 862. They put that on. They work hard to arrange that. It was actually a pretty good showing from the folks in the parade. A lot less people walking this year. But I think almost all the high school bands were there. So it was great turnout to honor our former, past, and current veterans. So I was pleased about that. The only other thing I just wanted to mention, we did have that, and I couldn't make it. SPC, the TIP open public meeting. I think you were there, Tony. There are 2 bridges from Beaver County that will be on the 26th tip. One is a study for you've heard us talk about this now for several years, for the Aliquippa Ambridge Bridge. So there will be financing on there in 26 to do this study.
I mentioned it. I brought it up and I couldn't get an answer on what the potential cost was. I remember it was, when it first started talking about like 280 million, then it was 400 million.
Yeah, but a lot of that was also for the design and eminent domain and a whole different bridge route. But
Well, the first thing they wanted to know is, do we want to relocate it? I said, absolutely not.
no. And the other bridge is Country Club Bridge on Route 65. It's a bridge replacement that should be on there that they have some financing for. So we have 57 county bridges. One is inactive, the Falston Bridge, but that's 2 bridges that are on our radar, for one being replaced and one is studying to figure out how to replace it. Next year will be I think the 100th anniversary of the Aliquippa Ambridge Bridge. It was opened in 1926. So. Thank you.
Corey, for resolution
13.
the budget, you want to go ahead and talk about that?
So what you have in front of you are the options, just sort of a summary of what the department requests were, as well as the options that circulated that to you guys, so you can have it in advance. But basically what we have is, after going through the anticipated revenues and expenditures from department requests, we were at about a $9.3 million shortfall. Part of that was capital minor outlay, about $3.8 million. So what we're looking at is about a $5.5 million operating shortfall, which you have are the options to sort of close that gap. I would like to say that, the county still is in a really good position. You have flexibility to decide whatever options you want to go. So it's just really a matter of prioritizing the options that you have on page 2. Basically, the shortfall operations-wise is there's about $3 million less in grant funding. That was in at the departmental request standpoint, as well as declining interest revenue was about 1.4 million. And that's because of the spend on ARPA and all this kind of thing, as well as interest rates decline. So the majority of this is revenues coming in under anticipated or comparison to last year. And then the offset, the other piece was wage and benefit increases of about $1 million over prior year. So that's where the gap is. The options I circulated, I just need to know if you take all those options that are there minus the tax increase, which is always an option, it would get you down to about a $2 million operating deficit that then we would fund from fund reserves. So I just open for discussion as to which items, if you take them all, or if you want to have discussion on any of them.
Where does, for the operating reserves, if you pull that 2 million, a little over 2 million, where does that put us at after the?
So we have a couple different reserves. We have our regular operating reserve, which is about $13 million, and that's why we'd like to keep it there. We also have the ARPA funds, which are pretty much allocated, and then our capital reserve, which is where we put the overage of our operating, and that has about, I want to say, between that and ARPA, probably 10 or so million. So this could be used out of there for short-term purposes.
So a little over, so right now it's about 23 million total.
Somewhere in that range,
Okay.
between that and the non-ARPA balance that remains there. Which is
The 13 million is, what's, 2 months of expenditure.
13 is meant to represent about 2 months.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Cory? We'll move to other business, any other business? Audience participation, any audience participation? Hearing none? All right, we will move into executive session. Thank you. I don't know what, but I know one is
Is that solve or problem or allows, we really need to